أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي آمين رب العالمين. Assalamu alaikum everyone. I hope all of you are doing great, and I also hope that by now you have memorized all the patterns for fi'l mazi and fi'l mudari, which simply means past tense and present tense. Okay, and now in this lesson, or rather practice session, please get ready to have your brains wrecked, okay, because this is going to be an intense practice. Okay, the first one is, as you can see, your example that we have already done in the previous lessons. Nasara, he helped. Yansuru, he helps. Okay, so this pink one is going to be your fi'l mazi, and this one is going to be your muzara. All right, so let's begin. Pause the screen, complete the table, and then unpause it, play it again, and then we'll discuss the answers. All right, so I hope that you got all of these correct. First of all, we have Nasara. All right, now it's going to be a very quick practice, okay? I'm not going to explain each and everything and what kind of pronoun has been embedded in each of these patterns. Okay, we have already covered this thing at great length in lessons 5 and 6. Okay, so if you guys need to know those points, I would really urge you to go back to lesson 5 for these explanations. Okay, it's going to be a very quick practice about the patterns and forming derivatives, really. Okay, so nasara, nasara, nasaru. Remember, notice how I have prolonged this sound. All right, this is nasara, nasara. Okay, nasara, nasara, nasaru, nasarat, nasarata. All right, nasarna. Sukoon comes for hunna, and then hunna onwards there is a sukoon on the third root letter. Nasarna, nasarta is for anta. Okay, nasartuma, nasartum, nasarti, nasartuma, nasartuna, nasartu, nasarna. Now there's another way of reciting this table, I would say. And if you want, you can adopt that method, and if you're not too comfortable with that, then of course you can follow this pattern that I've just told you. What's the other way to remember this? Simply mention or simply vocalize the pronouns as well, the rougher pronouns as well, right? So instead of saying simply nasara, you're going to say huwa nasara. Instead of simply saying nasara, you're going to say huma nasara. Instead of saying simply nasaru, you're going to say hum nasaru. Similarly, hiya nasarat, huma nasarata, hunna nasarna, anta nasarta, antuma nasartuma, antum nasartum, anti nasarti, antuma nasartuma, antunna nasartunna, ana nasartu, nahnu nasarna. Okay, if you want, you can practice it this way, while vocalizing the pronouns, the rougher pronouns as well. If you don't want to do it that way, then it's perfectly all right to just know what these patterns mean. All right, because if you're saying nasarna, then you should know this nasarna. All right, if you're saying nasarna, then you should know that this is actually the word for hunna, the pattern for hunna. Okay, so that's what. All right, next one is yansuru fil muzare. So yansuru, yansurani, yansuruna, tansuru, tansurani, yansurna, tansuru, tansurani, tansuruna, tansurina, tansurani, tansurna, ansuru, nansuru. All right, okay, next one, to hear. All right, now I have told you just two words, sami'tu, yasma'una. All right, now I hope that you guys can work out the root letters and how you can form the huwa version of it from huwa version from sametu, and then huwa version from yasmauna. Okay, now I know, but this is only the first step towards getting your brain wrecked. All right, so I did this on purpose because you should be able to know how to work your way backwards. For example, if you got the word sametu, All right, this is, of course, this tu tells you that this is the ana version. How would you make its huwa version? This is something that you should know. Okay, simply, I'll just give you a hint. Remove this tu, this suffix, all right, and then, as I mentioned, that hunna onwards, you are going to get a sukoon on the third root letter, all right. So you're going to remove this sukoon and replace it with a fatha. So it will become sami'a. Okay, now I told you in the previous lesson that the harakat on the root letters may be a bit different, so don't, don't get too worked out on that one. Don't worry about that. As long as the harakat of the suffix remains same, it would mean the same thing. Okay, so it's not going to be sama'a, but it's going to be sami'a. Okay, so well, I told you the entire answer. Now I hope that you can work it out. Pause the screen, complete this entire table, and then look at the answers. All right, so I hope that you got it all correct once again. As you can see from sami'tu, you got the word sami'a because you removed this suffix, and then you replaced the tanween, you replaced the sukoon of the last root letter with a fatha, so it became sami'a. All right, now in the huwa version, you're always going to have this fatha on the third root letter. All right, so it's going to tell you, it's going to set it apart. Okay, so you get sami'a, he heard. Sami'a, let me get the pen out. Sami'a. Okay, so this is sami'a, sami'a, both of them masculines heard. Sami'u, sami'at, sami'ata, sami'na. All right, here the sukoon is on the suffix, here the sukoon is on the third root letter. Sami'na, all of them feminines heard. All right, sami'na. Okay, hunna sami'na, then anta sami'ta, antuma sami'tuma, and then sami'tum. All right, so I personally like the pronoun less method because it doesn't become a tongue twister for me then. Okay, so that's why I never vocalize the pronouns. I just know what these things are for themselves. Okay, so sami'ta, sami'tuma, sami'tum, sami'ti, sami'tuma, sami'tuna, sami'tu, sami'na. Now your task is to translate these things on the worksheet. Okay, I did not do it on purpose. Okay, so that you can start your thinking process of translation. Okay, you know what these things mean. All right, then you have yasma'u. All right, so I gave you the word yasma'una. All right, so what did you do? You simply removed its suffix, which, or the second add-on. All right, second add-on was this una. All right, this wow and noon. All right, and then ta-da, well, you've got this. Okay, so yasma'u, so yasma'u, yasma'una, I'm sorry, yasma'ani, yasma'una, tasma'u, tasma'ani, yasma'na, tasma'u, tasma'ani, tasma'una, tasma'ina, tasma'ani, tasma'na, asma'u, nasma'u. Okay, once again, if you feel that this seems to be like a tongue twister, I totally second you. That is exactly how I felt when I was, vocalizing. I was reading this chart aloud during my beginner days. Okay, so I totally second you, and I'm with you in it. Okay, so don't worry. So, but as I've been saying a lot of times, that the more you practice, the better you'll be. So don't worry. Once again, okay? So I hope that this is clear. Now, if you can write it correctly, I'm sure you'll be able to vocalize it correctly as well. Okay, so that's why I decided to discuss these examples that I have already given you in the worksheet in the previous for the previous lesson. All right, so these were the same examples. These are the same examples that you have already covered in that worksheet, and I'm doing this on purpose. Okay, so that you know how to move on with things. All right, now you have sajada for huwa, and then you have yasjudani for huma, masculine. Okay, pause the screen and work your way through the entire table, and then get the answers. All right, it means to prostrate, and let's see what you have done. So you get sajada, he prostrated, sajada, both of them. Now this is for huma. Okay, sajada, sajadu, sajadat, sajadata, sajadna, sajatta. Now there's an important point, and I'm going to mention or highlight for you later on. Okay, first of all, just finish this this entire chart. Sajatta, sajattuma, sajattum, sajatti, sajattuma, sajattuna, sajattu, sajatna. All right, remember, notice how I am saying sajatta, sajattuma, sajattum, sajatti. This is too much for the Arabs. Okay, they like to have a smooth speech flow. Okay, so you, or rather, what they do is they simply fuse these two sounds. Instead of saying sajadta, they say sajatta. That is it. Sajatta, sajati. And that's where you get the abattum from. It's coming up. Okay? Alright, so alright. Sajatta, sajattuma. So that's how you're going to vocalize it. Sajatta, sajattuma, sajattum instead of sajadtum, sajattuma. Nope. Alright? Use their way. Just how you guys say it's instead of it is. Alright, so you have adapted to the contractions given in English language. Similarly, you should also, comply to these things. It really does make your life easy, doesn't it? Instead of saying sajatta, sajattuma, just say sajatta, sajattuma, sajattum, get over with it, okay? So sajatta, sajattuma, sajattum, sajatti, sajattuma, sajattuna, sajattu, sajatna. Okay, next you had yachudani. So in order to work out the hua version, what did you do? You simply removed the suffix, and then well, that's it, you got it. Okay, so yachudu. So yeah, so the last root letter is always going to carry a dhamma in regular state. All right, you are going to find instances where you are not going to find dhamma on the last root letter. All right, you're going to find it either having either a sakun or a fatha. Okay, don't worry, it's the same thing, just a different structure. Okay, and we will cover all of those situations in the next section, inshallah. Okay, at this moment, for your current practice, remember that the normal regular harkat for the last root letter in Muzare is Dhamma. Yasjudu. Okay, so Yasjudu, Yasjudani, Yasjuduna, Tasjudu, Tasjudani, Yasjudna. Okay, then Tasjudu for Anta, then Tasjudani, Antuma, Tasjuduna for Antum, Tasjudina for Anti, Tasjudani for Antuma feminine, Tasjudna for Antuna. Asjudu, I, Nasjudu, we. Okay? Once again, translate this entire thing on your worksheet. Alright, next one is the word abattum. Alright, nabudu. Now I hope that you're not going to say abadtum, but you're going to say abattum. Alright, so it's going to have a tashdid over here. Let me make it for you. So it's going to have a tashdid. Alright, and it's going to kind of go away. Or not. Okay, so it's going to be joined. The two sounds are going to be fused, and the dominant sound would be of the. So abattum. Alright, so pause the screen, finish the answer, finish this entire table, and then get back to the answers. Okay, so we get abada, he worshipped and obeyed. Abada, abadu, abadat, abadata, abadna, abatta, abattuma, abattum, abatti, abattuma, abattuna, abattu, abadna. Okay, next for Muzare, you have ya'budu. Now you actually had na'budu. Okay, so you cannot see any suffix over here, so you're done on that part. But you do see that this has the prefix of na, which means we. Okay, so what did you have to do to convert it into huwa version? You simply had to replace this na with ya. So you get ya'budu from na'budu. Okay, ya'budu, ya'budani, ya'buduna, ta'budu, ta'budani, ya'budna, ta'budu, ta'budani, ta'buduna, ta'budina. All right, then ta'budani, ta'budna, a'budu, na'budu. Na'budu is, of course, we all know, we are all familiar with this word, right? And ta'buduna from the Surah Al-Kafiruna. Okay, all right, and of course abatum from there as well. Okay, next one is to send something down. Anzala. All right, now I'm sorry, but I did this on purpose. Okay, so this is not your classic three-lettered Huwa version of the fi'l, but this has an additional letter of Hamza, and rest of the letters are the same. Nazala. Okay, uh, but whatever you have to do is that you just have to add the suffix for the mazi patterns. All right, so forget about this, just don't bother too much about this Hamza. Okay, now pause the screen and then work out with the or with the with the suffixes and everything. All right, so this was anzala, he sent down. Okay, something, of course, he sent down. Then anzala, anzalu, anzalat. All right, she sent something down. Anzalata, anzalna with a short na. Okay, then anzalta, anzaltuma, anzaltum, anzalti, anzaltuma, anzaltuna, anzaltu, I sent down, anzalna, we sent down. Inna, anzalna, who. All right, we'll cover that soon, inshallah. So this is that anzalna that we recite in Surah Al-Qadr. Okay. Then we have the Muzari version, which is yunzilu, yunzilani, yunziluna, tunzilu, tunzilani, yunzilna, tunzilu, tunzilani, tunziluna, tunzilina, tunzilani, tunzilna, unzilu, nunzilu. Okay, I hope that you got all of these correct. All right, so these were our patterns. Now we are going to work out the file from the following examples. Okay, so remember how I told you that a certain pronoun is is present or is embedded in the fail pattern itself. All right, and sometimes you kind of expose it. All right, so you write it separately, but that is not observed in a regular sentence. That is for stress purposes. Okay, and then I also told you that whenever a file is going to be unexposed, then it means that it is actually a pronoun. Okay, so now we are going to work out the pronouns, all right, from these examples. Okay, the doer pronouns, that is. Okay, we are going to work out the file from these examples. All right, so our first example is amantu bihi. Forget bihi, this is jar majroor fragment, as I hope you know by now. This is the new thing that we just did. Okay, so we have amantu. Do you recognize this tu over here? I hope you do. So what does this tu tell you? Who is the doer? Who is the file? I hope that you said ana. Okay, why? Because tu is going to tell you that it's ana. Okay, tu means I. Amantu, I have believed. Or okay, ana, amantu. Next word is an'amta. Okay, pause it and tell me, can you identify the file from this word? I hope you can identify it easily and that you can do it as anta. I hope that you can identify this as nahnu because of this noon. All right, what would be its ana version? It would be usabbihu. What would be its huwa version? it would be yusabbihu. Okay, so practice making these derivatives, these different patterns. Okay, so usabbihu, I. Then nusabbihu, similarly tusabbihina. What would that be? That would be for anti. Okay, so practice these. Yahuzu, it means to encourage. Okay, now what kind of file or pronoun can you deduce from this word? This ya tells you that this is he, and of course there's no other add-on, so it's he, and singular, of course. He's are all singulars. Okay, all right, so this is huwa version. All right, next we have taktubinahu. Okay, now this is a big word, and I'm really sorry for putting it here, but you guys need to know this. Okay, so first of all, what does this mean? This is the attached form of huwa, so it simply means either him or his. Now, is there any reason for this who to be jar? I hope you're saying no, because there is no preceding harf jar, all right, and there is no muzaf alayh behind it. I'm sorry, there is no muzaf behind it. Therefore, you can see that this thing is actually your uh, nasab pronoun, okay, and its rafa pronoun is huwa. Okay, so it means him or it, him or it. Okay, there is no word for it in Arabic. I hope you know it by now. Okay, so it's either going to mean it or him. All right, what do we have next? We have taktubina. Okay, all right. All right, so you have first add-on as ta. Okay, then you have the root letters kataba. Okay, and then you have the second add-on of ina. What does that tell you? What is a pronoun? The hidden pronoun, the hidden file pronoun. I hope you're saying anti. Taktubina, who? Okay, she writes it. All right, next we have yamnauna. Pause the screen and tell me, this one is quite easy actually. I hope that you said that this is hum, because first add-on is ya, second add-on is una, all right, and our root letters are here right in the middle. So this is for whom. Okay, yamnauna. Then rujat. Okay, this is quite easy. This is for hiya. Why? Because the suffix of ta is having a sakun on it. Okay, rujat is hiya. Next, kuntum. All right, so what do you see? You don't see any add-on in the beginning. You only see the suffix of tum. So what does that mean? That this is fil mazi, and the pronoun hidden in it is antum. Okay. Then you have tanzurani. Okay. So pause the screen and tell me, what do you make out of it? The first add-on is the second add-on is ani, so this one gives it away. This is musanna, and then you have ta in the beginning, so it's going to be one of three possibilities. Okay, so you had yansurani, okay, or simply it's homa masculine version would have been yanzurna. Okay, yanzurani, sorry, yanzurani. Okay, and here it is tanzurani, so it's either going to be for homa feminine, or antuma masculine, or antuma feminine. Okay, so that's what you see here. Huma kuma kuma. I'm sorry, not kuma, but uh, antuma. Okay, this is antuma, not kuma. Kuma is your nasab or jar pronoun for antuma. Okay, so it is huma or antuma. Okay, I hope that you had noticed it. Okay, anyways, antuma. This one is done. Then we have the alamuna. Pause the screen, work it out, and tell me what kind of file pronoun is hidden in it. I hope you said antum. Why? Because of the first add-on of ta and second add-on of una. Alright, next we have qalu. I hope that you can work it out as whom. Why? Because of the suffix of u all right, and then you've got an alif here. So home. Okay, now this alif is silent and it doesn't matter if it is there or not. Okay, but while you're writing, you need to have this alif. Okay, all right, next you have takunu. The first add-on is the. Do you see any second add-on? I hope you're saying no, because this noon has dhamma on it, not fatha. Okay, so all the second add-ons that we have practiced or that we know, all right, for fil muzari, they all carry a fatha, all right, they do not carry a dhamma. If it is carrying a dhamma, then this is not the second add-on, but it is your uh, part of the root word, you could say. Okay, root letter. So takunu, this is either anta or hiya. Okay, so well, these were our um, questions, and this was our practice session. I hope that you understood quite a lot of things, and that I hope your brains are not as wrecked as I had intended them to be during this practice. So, well, if you guys need any more explanation regarding anything, you can always reach out to me. And guys, practice these things a lot. This is going to save your neck and your time and your extra efforts in section D. Okay, I cannot stress on it enough. In the next lesson, inshallah, we are going to return to our ism and we are going to learn how to make sentences. I'm sorry, we're going to learn how to make questions. Okay, so till that lesson, keep on practicing and I'll see you then. Barakallahu li wa lakum fil Qur'an al-Hakim. Allah Hafiz.